What's his name? What's your name?
My name's
Alex?
Tommy.
Yeah, your name's Alex, and I'm gonna be talking to your manager. This guy called me sir. I get this happens every fucking day. Everywhere I go, I get called sir. I'm so fucking tired. Why would you call a chick big ass tits? Fucking. Why would you call?
I didn't say.
No, stop trying to gaslight trans people and tell us that we're crazy. Crazy. You need to fucking be mindful of other people and stop being a fucking scumbag. And you're a liar. I heard you. Stop fucking gaslighting trans people. Wait, what? Did you call me sir again? What was that? You said goodnight, sir? Alex, I'm gonna be talking to corporate about you, you motherfucker. Fuck you. Okay? That's bullshit. You don't fucking harass trans people at work. Yeah, you did. And I'm walking out and you're like, have a good night, sir? What the fuck is that? No, you don't fucking do this to trans people. This is discrimination. No, this is discrimination. I'm fucking done with it. No, I'm going to talk to corporate about this. You don't harass trans people. Hey, you know, it's one of the stupid things when you're catching Karens. You called me sir, and you're talking shit calling me sir on the way out. This is transphobic harassment. You're a fucking bigot at work. All right, Alex, you know what? I can't wait to just... He admits twice calling me sir. No, he lied about the person. No, you called me sir twice. Twice. Yeah, but you shouldn't be fucking harassing people with slurs. It's a slur. Do you not understand? It's like if you call the person that color the N-word. Don't fucking... You did on the way out. I don't care. I have the right to be pissed about it. You fucking did. You fucking did, you liar. And I'm going to hold you accountable. Cis people need to be held accountable for how they treat trans people. And I'm not going to...
Okay. So y'all just heard this whole exchange right here. At first I thought it happened at the Popeyes because it has the Popeyes colors, but it did not happen at the Popeyes. So you have this individual right here. Wow. Oh, you have this individual right here who clearly was biologically born as a man, but now is identifying as trans. And this is the issue that many people have with Hall T. When it comes to their community. They are way, first off, over the top with this. So you have this person right here who identifies as trans, who clearly was biologically born as a man, who now lives as or is transitioning into living as a woman, who claims this person, this guy right here, referred to him as sir. Before I go any further, this reminds me so much of that video from a couple years ago in the GameStop where you had the same a person who identified as a trans woman say, "It's ma'am, not man. Don't call me ma'am." You know, and had bass in his voice just like this person right here. Like it literally reminded me of that. And the person pissed him off even more by referring to him as man or sir as he was walking out the door, and he came back and got even more mad. And I don't know why that person wasn't made to pay for property damage, because they had knocked some stuff over in that particular store. And this exchange right here, this is exactly why a lot of establishments that people work at, such as in fast food, need security. This is exactly why. Because I'm sure if they had security, that person probably, well, I don't know, maybe they would or maybe they wouldn't, but let's hypothetically say they would have had to been escorted out of the business basically for disturbing the peace and just causing a whole bunch of drama for no reason. Now this person claims that this worker right here referred to him as sir and whatnot, and the thing is, I never even heard the person call him that. And then when they walked out and came back and was like, what? I'm like, how did you hear this person referred to you as something? And we didn't even hear it. The people that was recording, you was already out the store and the door was closed. How did you hear that? And that's why I said I think he was just coming back just to start unnecessary drama, just because he wanted to start drama. And yes, I referred to him as he, H-E, him, that guy, sir, man. But they were so upset about it. But the thing that got me, that is the main reason I'm doing this video, and y'all may have missed it, and I'm gonna see if I can go back ahead to where it happened and play it for you again. Let me see.
Shouldn't be fucking harassing people with slurs. It's a slur. Do you not understand? It's like if you call the person that color the N-word.
Did you hear that? He said calling a trans person as what they don't want to be identified as, well, in this case to be called sir, is a slur. It is like calling black people the N-word. How? They are not comparable. See, this is the problem right here. They claim that racism doesn't exist, but you just had this person right here that claims they were oppressed because someone referred to them as sir. And they displayed themselves as a man. Like, this person is a man. I don't give a damn how they flip it. It is a man. And they said calling me as what I don't want to be identified as sir is a slur, and that is comparable to calling a black person the N-word. No, it is not. They claim that black people are not oppressed in this establishment. We're making it up. It's all in our heads. That was way back in the day. But you have this person right here who was palm colored, might I add, going off on this employee because they allegedly called them sir when they don't want to be identified as sir, but as to be referred to as man, or as woman, or ma'am, or whatever he wants to be referred to as that at that time. And then had the nerve to compare it to a black person being called the N-word. If you don't get the fuck out of here. And see, that's why I and many others have to call this out, because we're not going to just let this slide. And we shouldn't let it slide. And the thing is, what's scary about this is you see how they passed that anti-Asian discriminatory bill, and how that thing is literally targeting black people as of late, as from what I'm seeing. Let them do something like that for Hall T. If you call them a sir, well, if they are identifying as a man, but you call them sir, or if they identify as a man, and you call them ma'am or miss or whatever like that, watch you do that, and how this person just went off on this worker would be seen as valid. And then they could slap hate crime charges against this person. And this person could not only lose their job, but they might actually go to jail. Because you quote unquote misgendered them. But they can go into your space and in your face and talk all types of shit about you, and nothing happens to them. Fuck that. I thought this was the land of equal opportunity and equal rights. And if it isn't, guess what? I will break every goddamn rule and make it so for my damn self. And you should too. Because there is no way I would ever let anybody disrespect me in that fashion. How fucking dare you compare this to being called the N-word? They cannot be compared, and they will never be compared. Just like, remember a few years ago when you had that picture that went around where you had those black men who were part of the academy say black is the new gay, or gay is the new black, whatever they said that was. That was the beginning. That was the beginning, and I don't even think that was even 10 years ago when I first saw that picture. They literally are trying to put everything that should not be seen as a form of oppression into the box of oppression that black people literally are, like, literally that box is labeled pretty much damn near for us, and then try to push us further down into that box and make space for themselves. I think that's what pisses me off about this whole thing right here. Not so much that this person called you sir or whatever the case may be. It's the fact that this person compared it to a black person being called the N-word. And black people, we have to stop being scared of this community. I don't give a damn, because they're a person just like the rest of us. But they're hiding behind these bills and these laws that they want to have made. And so the thing is, when this person did this, and he wanted, because I wouldn't be surprised if he did this with that intent, to make it go viral, to make a case for himself or for those in that community, so they can have what the Asian community just got back in March. I'm telling you, mark it down today. They are trying their damn hardest to get some kind of an anti-Hall T bill drafted up for them. And notice how they always keep saying, oh, there's a rise in hate and crimes against Hall T lately. And then when they give the number, it's a very small number. And then you compare it against the black people who were killed unjustly and unarmed by these terroristic pigs out here. It doesn't stack up. Our causes are very different. And what's a shame is you have a lot of black people, well, maybe not a lot, but the black people that you have in that community that will be more for that than they are for what we have going on over here, which is why many of us can't trust them. Remember what happened with Ed Buck a couple years ago when he killed, not as far as we know, I think he did, as they died in his presence, not one but two members of the academy who happened to both be black. Now it's interesting, I and Tariq were one of the first two people to actually break a story about that first one, but you really didn't hear anything from the academy. Why? Is it because Ed Buck was an old white man? Why is it because he was an old white man who had connections? Or did y'all plan on going out to visit him? And I echoed that in a video that I did, the last video I did about him. And then he killed, as far as we know, allegedly, another black man in the academy, in his home. Got away with that. But they finally got him in jail where he needs to be at. And it wasn't until he was locked up that when people started to actually say something, but y'all didn't want to talk about why it was black men going over there in the first place, basically pimping themselves out to this old white man. Because in my eyes, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like they just were being pimped out by some old white man. And I think one of the guys that went over there, the second guy, used to be a porn star. But they don't want to talk about that. But when it comes to, oh, there's crimes being committed against us by the quote unquote most homophobic group, black people, then they want to make all this noise. But you got Ed Buck out here doing his dirt, nothing. You have these palm-colored politicians out here drafting all these bills against you, nothing. But God forbid if a black person says they don't agree with your lifestyle, oh, you're this and that phobic. That's what pisses you off. That's what gets your goat. Now, I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but I had to make it my stance be clear. And like I said, as for this dude right here, we in the black community cannot let this fly. We cannot let this slide. Because they're doing it way too often now. This is not the first time I've heard this type of narrative leave the mouth of someone like that. And not even of the same ethnic group. Because you'll have other ethnicities who maybe happen to not be black who have done the same thing. And they may not identify in Hall T. They could be in Hall L, Hall G, B, whatever. Who do the same thing. And they will compare their plight to ours, but claim that our plight doesn't matter, or that racism doesn't exist, or oppression is victimhood. But they'll turn around and do the same exact goddamn thing that they claim is not real. Because they're trying to get something passed for them. I see the end game. I see the writing on the wall. I see it for what the fuck it is. It's so blatantly obvious. And unfortunately, it's too many of us who are blinded by it. Why? Are you entertained by their antics? You shouldn't be. Because a lot of the times they're mocking you. And speaking of mocking black women, you should be more offended because a lot of times when they're doing the mocking, they're mocking you in particular. Whether they be white, black, Hispanic, whatever. You've seen the shows. Who are they mocking? I've even heard stories where you've had some black women getting makeup tips from them. Are you serious? You're getting makeup tips from someone who's trying to be you, but claim that men have no right to be in your space. You're letting a man in your space who's pretending to be you, but you turn your vision off because he's trying to be you. Like, it's weird. It's very weird. I'm over it. Like I said, if he was mad that this person called you sir, fine. But don't sit up there and compare it to being called the N-word. That's bullshit. When was the last time you heard of a person in Hall T being lynched because someone called them sir? or ma'am if it's the other way around. Because I haven't heard it. But I've heard of black people being lynched after being called the N-word. And it's documented heavily in the books. Gonna sit up there and say, oh, well, being called man or sir is like a black person being called the N-word. No, it's not. It isn't. It's nowhere near. It cannot cut you that deep that someone referred to you as that. This is exactly why at one point his behavior was seen as a psychological defect, but over the years they removed it because of inclusion. I'm getting sick of that shit too. That inclusion bullshit, I'm over that too. Remember that video I just did about Cori Bush? Oh, birthing people because, according to some groups, everybody can get pregnant because, inclusion. Fuck inclusion. If it means delusion. That intersectionality bullshit gets on my fucking nerves. And this right here, what he just said, that can go back to that that can go back to that intersectionality bullshit as well. Well, if they call me as this and I don't identify as that, I can compare it to being called the N-word and then maybe I'll get some sympathy. Fuck you. No, it doesn't. I don't give a damn who gets mad about my stance. The shit is wrong. And I feel like, if I'm the only one that has to call it out, fine. I'll be the lone wolf that calls the bullshit out for what the fuck it is. But one thing you can't say is that I'm wrong. That's one thing you can't say. But they say the truth hurts. And people love to hear a lie because the lie, it soothes the soul. It softens the blow. And I wasn't even expecting to go into a rant. I really wasn't expecting to go into a full-blown rant. But this shit really pisses me off. You got all these other groups that'll go through something, they'll compare it to what we have going on, and there's no comparison, but they'll get laws and bills passed for them. And we get stuck with what? Nothing. We have stuff that's supposed to have been passed that's sitting on the desk collecting dust. So much dust, in fact, you can't even see the document anymore. It looks like it's buried underground. I've heard where you've had bills passed that been on the table for years, on the table for black people, and they don't even look at them. But the Asian American community gets called a name. Oh my God, we feel so bad for them. We now gotta, reach out our hands and extend that olive branch and love and console and, all of that. And a year later, well, we have an COVID-19 bill that's put on the books, for the Asian American community, and look at who it's targeting. I'm telling you, the Hall T in particular, they're going to incorporate the entire academy as a whole, but they're going to really focus on them. They getting one next. I actually saw, was it a couple weeks ago, where it was someone on the news making a case for it, and it was a black man in the academy making a case for them to pass some kind of a bill for the academy, and there's a black man who was in the academy. He didn't think about the black community as a whole. He was thinking about the academy as a collective. And that includes black, white, Asian, Hispanic, so on and so forth. He wasn't specifically talking about quote unquote people of color, even though he mentioned it, but let's be real here. Whenever that people of color thing comes up, who gets put at the bottom? Us. For starters, I don't like that POC terminology anyway, because we always get the short end of the stick for that anyway. Like I said, you had a black man up there making a case for the academy, and he's a black man himself. I guess he figured, well, I can't get anything with everyone else who is black as a collective, so let me come over here and make a case for them, and then maybe I can get something that I can benefit from, since I can't get it from over there. This shit is whack. It's dumb. It's ridiculous. Like I said, I don't care how anybody feels or does not feel about my stance when it comes to this. It is what it is, and it just has to be called out. And I even saw where, because this was tweeted, and I was looking through the quoted tweets to see what people were saying. You had this palm colored person gonna come up there and say something about some transphobia. Because this was actually posted on Tariq's Twitter page. And his tweet was, a white trans person saying that referring to them as sir is a slur and it's the equivalent of calling a black person the N-word. Really? Question mark. And when I saw the quoted tweet from that palm-colored man, who obviously is probably in the academy himself just based on his response, he talked about how Tariq was transphobic and all types of stuff like that. Fuck you, whoever that was. Whoever said that. You dumbass. But I think I have gotten out everything that I needed to say when it comes to this Brookharen. That's what I'm going to refer to him as, Brookharen, because he obviously doesn't know if he wants to be Brad one minute or Karen the next. He probably felt, oh, because I'm going out and purchasing my parts, that now you need to refer to me as this, that, and the third. And we don't even know what led up to this. We only hear the confrontation from his side. Who knows what he said to this worker or these other employees that led to this? And how do we even know this employee even called him sir? And maybe let's just say he called him sir. Maybe it was a mistake. And this person popped off for no damn reason. And that's why it escalated to that. And that's why the employee, I don't know if he didn't, but if he did, he probably got petty with the person because he knew what pissed him off. Like I said, we don't know what led to this whole situation right here, because we only caught it from one point. And that's the thing about Halti. Like, let's just say he genuinely accidentally misgendered him, quote unquote. All he had to do was kindly and calmly correct him and say, I will refer to be called as so and so. And then he was like, okay, I apologize, whatever. Now, if you felt he was being disrespectful and kept on doing it, okay, fine, whatever. All you had to do was get out. You just say, okay, I'm gonna just file a complaint. I'm gonna leave, not come back here as long as you're still working here, and leave. But oh no, you had to blow up and make a whole goddamn spectacle of yourself and cause a whole damn scene for the world to see you be the best actor or actress that you wanted to be in that moment. And then it led to you saying that it's a slur to call you sir because you want to identify as a woman, and that it was equivalent of a black person being called the N-word. If you do not get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. There were so many ways this person could have handled that situation, but this was the route that they took it, and then they ended it off with that. I have nothing more left to say. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments.